Receive upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Like our perspective.
I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. Hello, and welcome to the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. We're sharing on both channels today. So if you are not subscribed to the other channel, please go over to Headlines with a Voice and join us there. And as well, you can come over to the Lockhart Perspective and join us here. Today, we are looking at two candidates now. And we're going to look at we're going to also look at when it's time, when it's apropos for us to look at the Democratic situation, the Democrats, we're going to do that as well. We're not taking any side here. We're simply laying out some of the contrasts and comparisons of both of these individuals that are now going to be the Republican nominee. Well, they may be or may not be, but nonetheless, that's what we're doing today. We're looking at Nikki Haley and we're also looking at Donald Trump. Now, I'm going to say this because this is where I get a little cross-eyed. I know that a lot of times people say, well, you know, I'm going to choose the lesser of the two evils, and that's fine if that's the approach that one is taking. Can't judge you there. But both Haley and Trump seem to have a pretty beautiful or whimsical past. We're going to look at some of the things that are going on today with Donald Trump as it relates to his trial that he was supposed to have, but because of COVID and his attorney, he was not able to actually have it. And it's with a gal that we may have heard about from the past with a graping, and drop the G on that, with a graping allegation. And then we're also going to look at some of the mixed messages that we've received from the Haley campaign that states that some of the information that came out about her as it relates to her alleged extramarital affairs are not true. We see that there are some signed affidavits from the individuals that say, no, we were definitely involved. I was definitely involved in a relationship with her, albeit it may have only been one night. Yeah, I dealt with her. And so we're going to look at that. And then we're going to also look at some of the donors. Now, heavyweight donors for both, but specifically Haley. Haley stands to be the first woman as the president of the United States. That's what it looks like. You know, if she wins this, then she can definitely be in the running to be the first female. I wonder who the Democrats are going to bring out. That's what I'm wondering, who they're going to bring out to contend with her. Is it over for the current president? What do people say? What do the individuals in the Democratic Party say? What's going on? Now, you all know here that I believe that it's two sides of the same coin. For those of you who followed me, you know I believe that there are two sides of the same coin. And that's the reason why I believe that I'm a little qualified to share my opinion on both, because I don't have a dog in the hunt for either. I can look at both the good and the bad in both individuals and be able to give what my opinion would be as a fair assessment. But getting right into it today, I do want to take a look at some of the things that we've seen so far. So let's go on ahead and share the screen. We'll get that prepared to look at, and we'll start there. I want to, let's see. think this is going to be a great place to start for us, where Haley is concerned. And I always have to pull up my bifocals here, uh, just so that I can see. Oh, later on today, we're going to be looking at some receipts, and we're also going to be looking at some of the things that's going on in the Fani Willis case there in Fulton County, Georgia. I want to invite you all to look up those stories as well. We're looking at what happened today in court as it relates to the divorce situation between the Nathans, both the husband and the wife in that situation, and if the judge decides whether or not she is going to be able, and by she I mean Fani Willis, is going to be able to stand trial. Is it trial? Is she going to be able to be deposed? Yeah, deposed. Will she be eligible to be deposed? So some of that went out today. We're going to look at that. We're also going to look at some of the receipts up close. We're going to look at a lot of stuff. So don't forget to join us for that. So now let's get on over here and let's take a glance at this particular situation. Is this the stuff? Yeah. So what's at stake? Like, what's at stake for Trump and Haley in the New Hampshire primary? Now, you know that it's going to run all the way from the time it started. And according to what I've seen, which I did not know before in the past, this thing goes all the way on till September the 10th. Somebody let me know. Maybe I failed government in that regard. But nonetheless, I want to say hi to Van Justice Branson, Roosevelt Media, Ahal, William. Hello to everybody. So let's get down with this, shall we? All right. So what we see is it says the Republican presidential primary in New Hampshire on Tuesday, which we just saw, offers no shortage of entry. That'll be tomorrow. Okay. While it will provide an opportunity for frontrunner Donald Trump to demonstrate that he may be unstoppable in his march to the Republican nomination, it also gives challenger Nikki Haley a shot to show that Trump can be vulnerable. The contest between Trump and Haley is expected to be closer than the results in the Iowa last week that we just had. That's what we just had. Trump vanquished Haley, who served as his United Nations ambassador. And I'm going to tell you that appointment in and of itself, just as an outsider, sort of concerned me when it first happened. But nonetheless, let's keep going. And his other remaining rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who we all know is out of there. He got them by 30 percentage points in the state's caucuses. DeSantis drops out of the race on Sunday, giving Haley the two-person primary contest she has long sought. Here's a look at the stakes for Trump and Haley ahead of the New Hampshire vote. For Donald Trump, the former president has held back rallies. He's had big packed rallies there in New Hampshire virtually every day in the run-up to the primary. A hectic pace for a candidate who usually prefers to pick his spots. But there's a simple reason why. He wants this badly. Trump and his aides want to convince Haley, her voters, and her donors, as well as the media covering the campaign, that the race is over and Trump will be the nominee. Get aboard the train. Now, you guys remember several years ago when I announced that I was off the Trump train, because as a conservative woman, that's who I rallied for in 2016. And until I started seeing some stuff, I was like, okay, we're off the Trump train. Matter of fact, we're off all the trains. We're just going to sit here and watch. Okay, so it says Trump beating Haley by a significant margin would go a long way toward accomplishing that. Conversely, the Trump camp is aware that a close finish would send the opposite signal, that a hefty portion of the Republican electorate is still looking for someone else. Haley would claim momentum heading to the next month's primary in her home state of South Carolina, where she is governor. Money would likely keep flowing in to keep her bid alive. The worst case scenario for Trump, but he would remain the favorite for the nomination to take the Democratic presidential, take on the president, Joe Biden, in November regardless. That's going to be a crack up. And I hope they don't put the stand in. Oh, did I say that? I just hope that it's him that comes up this time. So as far as Nikki Haley is concerned, a win by Haley in New Hampshire would amount to a political earthquake. An upset would wipe away the aura of inevitability that Trump has carried for months. And it would energize the anti-Trump forces in the party. Haley could then proceed to South Carolina as a viable Trump alternative. with her making the argument that she represents the future of the party and he, the past. The battle would be joined by the final result, and the final result uncertain. A close second place finish by Haley wouldn't quite accomplish the same thing, but still would allow her to contend that the anti-Trump vote would coalesce around her, particularly now that DeSantis is out of the race. Polls have shown DeSantis' supporters are more likely to switch their support to Trump than to Haley, but DeSantis' exit gives Haley the opportunity to chase voters of his who want to turn the page on Trump and install a new generation of leadership. Whether a strong showing in New Hampshire would ultimately help her compete with Trump in South Carolina and down the road would remain to be seen. But she would have a legitimate rationale for staying in the fight. A convincing Trump victory would be devastating for Haley, robbing her of any claim of viability. It would show that Trump's support is so broad across the party that there would be little hope of derailing him. Now, I want to talk about the whole Trump piece, because when you look specifically at South Carolina, Trump has already gained the support of Scott. Yeah. And by Scott coming out of the race, that left Haley the availability to forge ahead. I believe that it was all planned. Now, hey, Dawn, Mark Schuman said that Trump is going to win, and I believe that he's the Antichrist. Ahal says the Democrats will send someone who will drive the voters to Republican, someone who will stir up racial strife, forcing them to vote for Trump/Haley. Are you saying, Ahal, that you believe that Haley could be considered the vice presidential candidate? Is that what that means when you say Trump/Haley? The thing that I'm looking at the most is the fact that she got a lot of big backers. However, the gentleman that came from the Home Depot, I think it's Langorin or Lanford, he said, hey, you know what? If she doesn't take New Hampshire, then I'm not going to pour my money into that. If she doesn't make it, then for me, I'm just going to pull my money and put it elsewhere, but it won't go to her. So she's not only getting a lot of big backers, a lot of people with a lot of financial wherewithal, she's also being held to a higher level of accountability. Her feet are being held to the fire by those who are donating to her. Now, I want to look at because when I say there, both of them have a lot of controversy. I do want to look at Haley with regards to these alleged affairs, because I think that both of them having these things that are in the public eye, there's going to be voters on both sides, whether it be for her or whether it be for him, that have mixed feelings about some of the things that we're looking at. Now, you'll find that there'll be people who will look at her and say, well, gee, she cheated. And then they'll look at him and say, well, gee, he's cheated in the past. And now he's being accused of this graping thing that he's got to go to court for. This man spends more time in court lately than not. And another thing that I want to say as it relates to him, or if she wins, will there be the availability of blame for Haley when things start to fail if she does win as president? Will there be that availability of blame? What do I mean by that? Well, over the last few years, all we have seen in this current administration is Mr. Naranga, Mr. Orange. That's all we've seen. We've seen his name for everything. Everything that goes wrong, it's his fault. He is like the person who was the former boss of the company, and everybody wants to blame him for everything, including people resigning long after he's gone. Well, if it wasn't for him. So that's what I'm seeing. And I don't know if, frankly, I don't think she is a strong enough candidate to win against Donald Trump. And again, I'm not looking at it by who I like. I'm looking at it by the very substance of the individual. And I want you to take a glance. I mean, tell me what you guys think. I'm very concerned about any president when we are headed to war. Absolutely. But here's the deal. I don't even want to get into the war thing because we have something where we're talking about Netanyahu and some of the things that he said just recently. So I don't want to look at that. I don't want to look at that, not right now, because you guys know as soon as I get off on that diatribe, I'm not going to come down because I have very strong opinions about what's going on and what the necessity is and what we're being told and all that other stuff. And so I don't want to get into that. But to get back on this topic, I wonder if she's going to be a strong enough president if she wins, because as a candidate, I believe she's very lackluster. What I do believe is that she's had enough billionaires promise support that it would give her a little bit of self-confidence to make her feel as if she could go. But as far as candidates are concerned, I really don't see her as being a contender. With that said, who again are they going to bring on the Democratic side to run? I do see it as being a female and a male on that side. And then I do see it as being the winner from the Democratic side, because I don't believe that it'll be Biden, although somebody might shock me and it might be. But say, for example, it's not. I think it'll be a woman that runs against whomever wins for the Republican side. I hope I've said that in a fair and balanced way, because I don't want to put any projections out there or prophecies out there that say it's going to be Trump. I don't know. None of us do. We have a good idea who it might be, but again, we don't know. So with that said, let's get into the next article that we're going to look at where she's concerned, because there are some things that you cannot escape. You can't escape these things. Let's see. Here it is. And you know, a matter of fact, this particular publication got kicked out of Haley's more recent press conference or event. She had an event, and they sort of said, okay, goodbye. You can't come here anymore. So you got to go. And so they kicked this particular publication out. Let's go on ahead and split the screen. I'm going to go ahead and present this to you so that you can see it. Go to a window. There we are. Now let's look at this. Now, these are all alleged in my eyes as you know, sitting here as a podcaster and as, you know, doing what I do. I don't want to say any of this stuff is for sure. Why? Because Tasha K got sued by Cardi B for saying what she thought was true. So all of this stuff, no matter what they come up with, baby, is allegedly, because girlfriend ain't got them kind of, I don't got that kind of money. So with that said, we're going to just look at this. It says, we don't say here at the Lockhart Perspective, and none of the subs say that. Nobody that's subscribed to this says this. We're reading the publication. Nikki Haley, according to this publication, says did cheat on her husband, Michael, and she had affairs with her comms consultant and a married South Carolina lobbyist before she became governor. Sworn affidavits and new witnesses claim. Why is this important? Well, it's important because it goes to the ethical conduct and the character of the individual, which is the same thing that they used a while back when it's the same thing that they used a while back when President Trump was running. They used all that stuff on him and said, hey, you know what? These are some of the things that he has from the past. And these are some of the things that we want to take a look at. And if you like it, you like it. And if you don't, we don't care. But we're going to definitely take a glance at it, right? So this says that the presidential candidate, Nikki Haley, falsely denied cheating on her husband when she was accused of engaging into 2 extramarital affairs during her gubernatorial campaign. Multiple sources who worked with her have stated. Now, multiple sources who worked with her said, so wouldn't it stand to reason? Well, I don't know. I was just going to say, wouldn't it stand to reason that there could be some validity to it? Some validity? Let's go on. Let's continue because, yeah. Let's see. New eyewitnesses have come forward telling the dailymail.com, and that's who got kicked out, that Haley's denial of the 2 alleged 2008 affairs are false. And that the supposed trysts were brazen and widely known among South Carolina politicos. Will Folks, 49, Larry Marchant, 61, both have signed affidavits in 2010, not 2023. 13 years ago, they signed these, alleging that they had sexual relations with the then South Carolina lawmaker before she went on to become the governor. What did they have to lose or gain? They signed them. While the contents of the affidavits were described by major news outlets at the time, okay, this is the first time that they have been published outside of Folks' own document, which he published on his blog. Haley, 51, denied both at the time, saying that she was 100% faithful to the father of her two children and her husband of 28 years, Michael Haley, who was deployed in Afghanistan with the National Guard in 2012. Haley now frequently cites him as the reason for her presidential candidacy. There's the happy family. Oh, okay. Where's she from? India or Pakistan? There seems to be a lot of that going on in the United States right now, too. This is Marchant, and this is the other gentleman that they named, and there she is. But multiple GOP insiders told the Daily Com.Mail that they were intimately aware of Haley's infidelity as a South Carolina lawmaker, including tales of steamy liaisons in the back of her Cadillac SUV, canoodling with her lovers, laps at bars, and nights spent together in Columbia, South Carolina duplex. These are all alleged. And I'm going to say it's alleged because I cannot believe that a woman of this caliber would ever stoop to such means to get, canoodled. Haley has not responded to the Daily Mail's request for a comment as the time of the publication, which was last week when they put it out. This was the first time that they put this one out, and then they again came out and put it out again, but they doubled down. That's when she kicked them out of the events. It says the news comes as Haley's campaign gears up for the January 23rd New Hampshire primary, which is tomorrow, a fight to regain the second place in the race for the Republican presidential nominee after DeSantis secured a 2-point margin over her 21% of the vote in Iowa caucus on Monday. This story was written last week. Sources that spoke to the dailymail.com about Haley's alleged affairs after noticing her rosy references to her relationship with her husband, a major in the National Guard who is currently deployed in Africa on her presidential campaign trail. Quote, "I'm doing this for my husband and his military brothers and sisters. They need to know their sacrifice matters," she said in a speech reported by CBS in December. Her most recent campaign ad opens with photographs of Michael's 2013 homecoming from his first deployment in Afghanistan. Back in 2007, folks was shaping Haley's political message as her communications consultant while she served as a member of the South Carolina House of Representatives. In 2010, in a 2010 affidavit that was obtained by the publication, folks stated that he and Haley engaged in an inappropriate physical relationship that included numerous instances of inappropriate conduct. I'm not going to use that S word because I don't want to flag anything, but you see it on the screen. This is both she and her husband. This is her at one of her rallies, I would imagine. This is her getting ready to go on CNN. It says that he first kissed Haley in the car in 2007, early 2007, and that he had regular trysts with her at his apartment in downtown Columbia. He got married in June of 2008. Oh, so he was courting his fiance and hooking up with a married woman. This is the way of America, it seems. It's not just happening, down here in the neighborhoods. This stuff's going on everywhere, and this right here stinks. The level of just nobody has any morals anymore, it seems. So it says that he got married in June of 2008. Representative Haley and I shared our first kiss while sitting in her parked car outside of McDougal's restaurant and bar in downtown Columbia, South Carolina, folks wrote in the October 10th affidavit of 2010, I should say. The kiss took place in early 2007 following an evening with friends and a nearby Liberty tap room. After this kiss, Representative Haley drove us to the parking lot behind the neighborhood center at Emily Douglas Park, where we parked for approximately 45 minutes. Now, this just doesn't sound like someone of her caliber would do this. I'm not saying that this guy's lying, and I'm not saying that she's lying. I'm just saying this just to me doesn't sound like a lady of this level of influence would have to do this in the back of a car, but I don't know. It says there we slid back our seats of her Cadillac SUV so that Representative Haley could, the words that are there on top of the screen, avail herself to him. That's what we're going to use. Folks said that the alleged affair continued through the spring of 2007 with the tryst at his Columbia apartment, and that a few other romantic encounters occurred in her SUV. Boy, them seats got some work, including one in the parking lot of the South Carolina Policy Council and in her State House office. Yikes. Boy. He wrote that he broke it off in June of 2007 when he started dating the woman that he went on to marry following year, Katrina Steinborn. Okay, so because I was about to say this cat was. Well, you guys all know that I only read these with you. Okay, I get the title that we're working on. I pull it, and then we all together for the first time read it together for anybody who's new who doesn't know. But I was about to say she's old Pete, so he was engaged with this gal because I think engagement goes on at least a year or two. And then he's having a tryst with a married woman. Huh. Now, here's the part that comes in about Larry Merchant, who's 61. It says Larry Merchant Jr., 61, a Columbia lobbyist, also wrote a sworn statement that year that he had dinner, drinks, and beers with Haley in her hotel room at a Salt Lake City conference in June of 2008. Gee, this is really sad. At the time, Haley's two children, Raina and Nalan, were around 10 and 7 years old. Quote, Representative Haley and I were in Salt Lake City attending a conference together on June 14th through the 15th of 2008. Marchant wrote in his affidavit, we were both staying at the Salt Lake's Marriott downtown. Now, here's the bad part. The bad part is that wherever there's a surveillance camera, these things can be slightly proven. It can show somebody going in and out of a room. It can show how long the person was in the room, and it can show how long it took the person to come out the room. And so with that in mind, I don't know what they have. I do know that, you know what, when anybody gets in the public eye, they start to throw all kinds of dirt on the wall so that it sways the voter to go in another direction, which was my point to saying that whether it's her or whether it's Trump, whatever strikes a chord in the individual voter it will help to dictate if they're going to go to Trump or to Haley, or just say bump both of them and go independent, or just don't vote at all, right? That's basically what happens. After a night together of dinner and drinks, I should have put some music, so it sound like all my children or something, or General Hospital. After a night together of dinner and drinks with other participants of the conference, Representative Haley and I returned to the hotel together. We went back to her room where we had beers, and I spent the remainder of the evening. I left her room at approximately 6 a.m. Let's put it all together. I left the room at about 6 a.m., my shoes in hand, and I tipped out the hall as if no one would be able to see me on the recording of the cameras. Anyway, I came forward publicly on this matter after only being contacted by the press. After Representative Haley claimed that she had been 100% faithful to her husband in response to the Folks allegation, when I knew her statements were absolutely false. Now, what we just did, that was a quote. Marchant, who was married at the time, divorced in 2013 with his wife, citing the alleged affair. In court papers. The Republican presidential candidate managed to successfully quash the allegations and avoid scandal, and ultimately went on to be elected governor in 2010, which tells you that if a person really likes the candidate, they believe that, hey, this person's human, they're going to make some mistakes, and for whatever reason, whomever she was running against, they felt that no matter what she had did in the past, they had gained enough confidence in the things that she shared with them while running for governor to vote for her. So there you have it. She won. Now, but one South Carolina GOP insider told the news that they knew about Haley's affair with Marchant at the time. Quote, she was in Marchant's office all the time. She'd be there at 11 or midnight, and the two of them will be drinking, the former associate of Haley said. So her associate told her business. So when people think that and again, I don't know if this story is true or not. I'm not going to get into that because, again, I can't be sued, baby. I ain't got no money. I don't even get so much as I ain't got no money. Don't y'all come messing with me. But here we go. I ain't got no money to be sued. Okay. So the thing is that it doesn't matter whenever you are thinking that you're just doing something on your own and nobody knows. Don't you know that when you're out here doing things wrong, that there are people who you even call your associates or your friends that don't want you to be put up when they know the truth about some circumstances or what they allege is the truth. Now, the GOP insider said that he had also seen Haley get into the back of her white Cadillac with her other alleged beau folks. I saw them sitting in it a few times with the windows steamed up, he said. A second prominent South Carolina Republican said that he regularly saw the distinctive white Cadillac outside a folks' duplex in South Carolina and Columbia, apparently staying overnight. I became curious when I saw an SUV, he says. This person says, I became curious when I saw an SUV parked outside early in the morning and late at night. It had legislative tags, and it wasn't hard to figure out who it was, he said. He added that Haley was not secretive with her alleged romancing. Now, let me say this. There are a lot of people who have cheated on their loved ones while their loved ones are deployed. Not saying that she was deployed at the time, but what I'm saying is that is not something that is unheard of. I remember during Desert Shield, it started out as Desert Shield, and my husband said, oh no, you're not staying on this base with these thirsty cats that are left behind in the rear. I'm sending you to California. So I went home. And so when we got back, there were women having babies 6 months after the husband got in town, after they were, after they had turned into Desert Storm. There were husbands that were filing for divorce. There were all kinds of things. So it's not uncommon where you will hear of wives getting lonely and doing things that they should not do. Instead of getting involved in the family, instead of getting involved in their church or their organizations that they belong to, some of them get misled and end up at the NCO club, and then yada, yada, yada. And then you got white SUVs hanging out outside of people's condos or duplexes. Now, here are some of the court documents that we see here. I don't know if I can blow this up any larger. Let's see. Can it get any bigger? I don't think so. 300 is going to be the largest. But these are affidavits. It says the state of South Carolina, the county of Richland, affidavit of William Randolph Folks III. Here is his, I can't see it even with these. Oh, it goes on to say that I'm over the age of 18 and competent to make the following statement. Number 2, I make this affidavit of my own personal knowledge. Number 3, I'm a resident of Richland, South Carolina. Number 4, I was employed by South Carolina Representative Nikki Haley from 2007 to 2008 as a communications consultant, he says. I'm going to give you guys the whole screen. Let me come back on my side. Let me give you guys the whole screen so you can see at least some of it a little better. I hope that's better. Okay. He says that I was employed by Representative Nikki Haley from 2007 to 2008 as a communications consultant. And as I have stated publicly, during that time, Representative Haley and I engaged in an inappropriate physical relationship that included numerous instances of inappropriate sexual conduct. Number 5 says Representative Haley and I shared our first kiss while sitting in her parked car outside of McDougal's restaurant. And then it goes on to mention what we've already seen in the document from the news article. It goes on to say that after this first encounter, Representative Haley and I saw each other again repeatedly during the spring of 2007. Most of these encounters took place at my apartment located at 2610 Lee Street in downtown Columbia. A few other romantic encounters occurred in her SUV, including the one in the parking lot of the South Carolina Policy Council and in her State House office. Number 7 says Representative Haley and I also went out in public together on several occasions. While we usually met at bar none of 5 Points, we occasionally met at the Back Porch Restaurant on Grevas Street, across from the Clarion Townhouse Hotel. We generally associated with my friend Kenny Boggs, a computer programmer, and Louis Gossett, who is the president of the South Carolina Manufacturers Alliance. Mr. Boggs was aware of my relationship with Representative Haley, while Mr. Gossett was not. Number 8 says my physical relationship with her ended in June 2007 when I began dating my the former Katrina Steinborn. Okay, this will be down below. There is the seal of the notary public, here. And there is his signature sworn this day of the 12th of October, 2010. And this is the affidavit of Larry Marchant. He says pretty much the same. I'm over the age of 18 and yada, yada. So we'll go ahead and read the rest of the article and move on. A lot of people saw her sitting on laps, wrapped arm in arm. I saw her myself when she was sitting on Larry's lap, he claimed. The third witnesses of Haley's former campaign staffers told the DailyMail.com that he had no doubt about the nature of her relationships with folks in Marchant. Quote, when she was having the affairs, she and her husband were having a lot of problems and were on the verge of divorce, the ex-staffer said. There was no question that she and Will were having an affair. Will was not sober at the time. They liked to drink at Zaz and Momo's in Colombia. Nikki was a big wine drinker. They would sit and canoodle. Who uses the term canoodle? Good mercy, canoodle. You want to go canoodle? Yeah, baby, I want to canoodle. You want to canoodle me? Yeah, let's go canoodle. You got your SUV? Of course, you know I got my ride. Anyway, it was totally out in the open. Everyone in South Carolina politics knew about it. Quote, I saw Haley and Marchant together many times. A fourth source, a senior political official in South Carolina, claimed folks confessed to him that he had baddies with Haley in her car in a restaurant parking lot. In the South Carolina legislature, there are two types: the people who believe not enough gets done because there aren't enough lawmakers and lobbyists sleeping together, and the people who are holier than thou that say that having an affair violates the 10 Commandments, the political official said. The claims of Haley's infidelity were first splashed publicly during her campaign for governor in 2010. This is, folks, the problem with this whole thing. This is Zaz Pizza and Bar and Grill. I'm going to finish this, but it's really hard because I got to get into Trump's impropriety, or at least the situation with the case that he's dealing with now. The local paper, the Free Times, had been investigating folks and Haley, and when its reporter questioned the male aide in May of that year, he decided to preempt the story by admitting to an inappropriate physical relationship on his blog, Fitz News. Haley responded the same day, categorically denying the allegations. I've been 100% faithful to my husband throughout our 13 years of marriage, she said in a statement. She doubled down in a Columbia radio station, saying, quote, this claim against me is categorically and false, totally false, calling it South Carolina politics at its worst. Folks who had been a public supporter of her gubernatorial campaign then posted text messages. Oh, Lord, it gets worse. Jesus. Oh, Lord, the boy got the text messages. Whoo. Homeboy, I'm trying to stay as positive for her as I possibly can. You know what I'm saying? I'm really trying to hope that Jesse win. You could win. You could beat Harold Washington. I'm sitting here trying my best to hold out hope. But this dude, talk about coming with receipts. This cat got receipts that's in the form of text messages talking about they canoodling. Lord have mercy. Okay, let's go. Whew. Folks who had been a public supporter of her gubernatorial campaign then posted text messages on his blog that purported to show others knew of the alleged affairs. The text messages were between folks and Haley's then chief of staff, Tim Pearson, and Wesley Donahue, a constant consultant for one of the political opponents. Here it is, a quote, I don't give a bleep if you believe me or not. You are the one who SCREWED. I don't give a F if you believe me or not. You're the one who blanked her. So they're mentioning the boinking that went on. You're the one who bragged about it, Donahue wrote to folks in one of the purported texts. Pearson encouraged folks to deny the affair, allegedly writing that if they keep this under wraps, Haley is going to win. But you see, again, people do not care about the indiscretions of the people they are voting for. They do not care if there has been any evidence of somebody saying or doing something that is wrong. They do not care if they can find any balance or anything in the person that allows them to attach themselves to that person. So it doesn't matter that she did this. She was going to win for governor anyway, because the same people that voted for her would have, I hope, have had knowledge of this unless they buried it. Unless they buried it. Now, he says if you leave it alone, she's going to win. The following month, Marchant came forward with his claim of a 2008 one-night stand. Okay, now you see what it says. This is all the stuff that we already read. And at the time, Haley spokesperson Pearson called the allegation false and outrageous, desperate attack from a losing candidate's paid campaign consultant the final week of the race. Pearson was referencing the fact that Marchant had only just quit as then Lieutenant Governor Andre Bauer's campaign against Haley in the gubernatorial Republican primary after getting paid more than $50,000. This is her and her poor husband. You know, this is her husband, her poor husband, and her beautiful children. Beautiful family. You know, just a beautiful family. It says the scandal failed to suppress her campaign. Haley served as governor until 2017 when she became the ambassador to the United Nations under the Trump administration, which is why I believe that all this stuff is put in place for a reason. Let's just guess for a second. Let's just imagine for one moment, okay? Let's imagine for just one moment that this was the plan all along. Not necessarily that it was a plan for, for him to get, put away a couple of times and then finally, him to be voted out. But let's just imagine that, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of these things, since in my opinion, a lot of these things are planned from beforehand. Let's just imagine for a second that this was the plan all along. That this was just a plan all along to get her to be a comfortable candidate. Now, let's just imagine. Let's just use our writer's mind. Let's use the writer's mind and imagine that this whole entire scenario was to get her to be his rival. We're just imagining. And her to then become his vice president. Let's just say, we're imagining as a writer would write, a story. We're just writing it. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Starfire Reborn, how are you? Joy Trujillo, good to see you. Ava Swoop, always great to see you. My sister, Black Spring with Autumn is here. Love you, princess. We need to get together and do something really soon. Daryl Calhoun, love you. My mods are here. Hey, Shaq is here. Shaq is here, one of my sons. And we have Zeb. Good to see you. And 22, Ronan, what's been going on? Had not seen you in a while. It's good to see you. So is that something that could happen? The fact is that when we decide to put our trust in these people, we will find every time that they are human and that they make some really bad decisions. The issue that I have with putting anybody in a position that has done these kind of things shows you that they do not have good morals and morals that would help make the best decisions for the people that they are sent to Washington to represent. Another thing is these types of improprieties set them up for blackmail, set them up for doing all kinds of things, which means that if you send one of these individuals to the White House or to the governor's house or to the Senate, wherever you're sending them, if they have these kinds of things in their background, do you think that they will not be easily swayed by somebody coming to them saying, we need you to vote for this right now because we've got pictures? Do you think that that's going to prevent them from going the other direction and voting their way? Even if you thought that they came and stood on this particular stance, this is what they believed in. This is what I believe in, and this is what I'm going to take to Washington. This is what I believe in, and this is what I'm going to take to the governor's house. And then as soon as the Polaroids get done shaking, baby, soon as they get the air off that Polaroid and that son of a gun is dry, bingo, bango. You want to explain this? No, you are going to vote for donkeys on the lawn because we need donkeys on the lawn. You're going to vote for elephants on the lawn because we need elephants on the lawn. See this Polaroid, this shaking Polaroid say, shake it like a Polaroid picture. It's going to say you're going to give us some elephants and you're going to give us some elephants and you're going to give us some donkeys on the lawn, because that's who controls you. Whoever has that information on you is going to control you. So this is the reason why you don't want to send people that you know have had any types of scandal anywhere. And I'm not saying that that everybody is a saint that's running. What I'm saying is you definitely have to look at this right here. Now, if this is the case, because I don't know any of these people, I ain't got a dog in none of they hunt. But if this is the case, I think it sets her up for a lot of compromise. And I think that's the dangerous piece, especially as a lady. If this is it, let's pretend for a second this was true. As a woman, first of all, you're not supposed to have a whole bunch of men running up and in out of you like you a train station. That's just the first thing. It's plain nasty. If this is true, right? That's the first thing, which tells me there's no sanctity up here. She don't have nothing that deals with anything that's morally right. That you can go, if this is the case, that you can, let's take it out of her. Let's take it to any other woman, that she could go and do these things knowing that she has a spouse who is out there in the military doing what they're doing. And if it's for his country, right? It's only convenient for you to say that this is because of his country, that you're going to do this now, because he stood for his country and you're standing for him and people like him. But for that man to be out of town and for you to conduct yourself this way shows that you have no self-control. And baby, let me tell you something. If you ain't got no self-control, don't nobody want you controlling nothing of theirs. Not their money, not their fate, nothing. Something up. Something up. Something up. It's something up. You have to look at everybody that you're going to send somewhere, which is why you don't see me voting for nobody no more. Because once they get in, these different decisions that they have to make are very critical. It is not easy to be a president. It's the reason why so many of them go in with beautiful dark hair and come out speckled. Bless their hearts, because that's a very difficult job to hold the weight of the United States and sometimes world relationships on your shoulders. And so what ends up happening is these individuals will succumb to some type of pressure. And I submit, baby, homegirl got too much dip on her chip. She got too much dip on her chip. Let's go ahead and finish this up because it's really sad the more that I read about this. It's really, really sad. So, let's go. This scandal failed to suppress her campaign, as it stated. Haley served as governor from 2017 until Trump plucked her to become the ambassador for the United Nations, which was a joke because, boy, did you watch that when she was there. She didn't know what she was doing. The GOP insider marveled at Haley's ability to shrug off the allegations, which would have killed many political bids, regardless of their veracity. Quote, she's smart and incredible operator, has a tremendous ability to put a force field around herself. That's because when a person does those kinds of things, they generally are, look at me, narcissists who have mastered the art of gaslighting individuals to the point to where they now believe the garbage that they say. That's the reason why she and people like her, if this is the case for her, okay? Because we don't know. We don't know if somebody paid these cats to say that. Anything is possible. But looking at it for face value, the reason why individuals can operate like that is because they have that believe me face. Do you know what the believe me face is? It's when they're talking and they've got those big bug eyes. Believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me. And their eyes are always big, no matter what they're talking about, no matter what it is that they're mentioning. And, while they're running or while they're in front of the cameras and they're talking to reporters, they have those believe me eyes. Now go and comb through. You'll see that AOC has those believe me eyes. You'll see there's a lot of them that have those believe me eyes. Like they told me what to say and I'm going to believe me. She's got an incredible ability, it says, to parry and power through bad press. She has the southern charm of Bill Clinton and the ruthlessness of Richard Nixon. It says author Michael Wolff sparked unsubstantiated rumors of Haley having an affair with. Y'all, do y'all see that? I can't read this aloud. And you guys know I don't read it till I read it with you. Do you see that? Do you see that? Oh, baby. Let me come over here and ask y'all. I want to see your response because you know I'm on the other side. I can't see you. Do y'all see that? Somebody put this up. Yeah, do you see it? Starfire. Whoa, Jack. Author Michael Wolff sparked unsubstantiated rumors of Haley having an affair with the then. Wow. Whoa. By writing in his book, let me ask a question. Did he get sued? Was he sued for making unfounded claims? Was Michael Wolff sued by either party for making unfounded claims? You see a vine dresser's branch too. Okay? You see it too. William. Troy Trujillo, I ain't playing with you. But I'm not even going to read that. I did not even know that. But my question is, has anybody heard of either of these parties going and suing him? Oh, Daryl, you a mess. You a mess, Daryl. But wouldn't you? I would be like, look, I'm gonna sue. You better take that out of your book right now because you and I both know that never happened. You show me proof. Oh, the dip on the chip. That's a mess. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, whoa, yikes. But you see it right here on the screen. Wow. Whoa. His book was called Fire and Fury, that Trump had been spending a notable amount of private time on Air Force One with said individual. I can't even utter the words, you guys, because I don't want to believe this. And it's really, and you don't want to say these things about people, especially if it's unfounded. But here's what I will say, baby. And let me let y'all see me for this one right here. You and I both know that a broke man that can get some from a woman, a man with some power, some influence, and a whole lot of money, baby, can get it a whole lot quicker. Not saying that she did, but I'm just saying, if a brother got some money, first off, broke brothers getting it thrown to them left and right by all these desperate females and vice versa, I'm sure. You know, males getting things from women and women getting things from males. If they, just poor broken, don't matter. They out there doing things. Okay. But can you imagine if she did it with her cat that was working for her and with a lobbyist? Okay. What would she do for a Klondike bar? Hey, I don't know. I'm just saying allegedly. So I don't believe anything without any proof, but I will say that it is not far-fetched because if you did it with a brother who didn't have nothing compared to Trump, who am I? Carry on in my Chester Cheetah voice. Move along. All right. That's deep. Haley called the rumors disgusting and absolutely not true, adding, I have literally been on Air Force One once, and there were several people in the room when I was there. Any comments to news sites and comments that she made to news site Politico's Women Rule podcast at the time. Wolff offered no evidence for his claims. You know why he didn't offer any evidence for his claims? First of all, he could sell a lot of books. Second of all, he was waiting for somebody to challenge him so that he could whip out them receipts. I ain't stupid, and neither are you. In 2010, South Carolina political blogger Earl Capps also fanned flames about a rumored incident of a drunken SE, Bettis with Haley, also unsubstantiated, when he was conspicuously failed. He conspicuously failed to deny them. Quote, I'm not going to admit or deny that one, Capps told Folks political site Fitz News in September 2010. I'm not going to address those allegations at this time until I figure out what someone has gotten hold of. That is my official position. No evidence emerged to back the rumors up. Well, probably because they're waiting until a couple of weeks from now to bring it up. I don't know. All I know is, as far as Homegirl is concerned, those are some very heavy allegations that I do hope are not true. I do hope that she has not done any of that. And I do hope that if there's any way that they could prove that she didn't, that be brought up, brought to the forefront. And that way they can just go on ahead and just deal with it. Okay. Now let's go on here. We're going to look at another story that deals with, I have to be fair. If I bring up a story about her, I got to bring up a story about him. And that's just the way that I see it. That's the way that I see it. So here we go. You guys are going to be able to see this because now they've made theirs that way. Well, now let me use the immersive reader, though. I know that much. Nope, I can't use the immersive reader because it won't allow you. I guess they don't like the hill. I don't know. They don't like the hill. Why? I don't know. But let me go on ahead and give this to you. So now Trump was supposed to be in court, and it says New York E. Jean Carroll's defamation trial against former President Trump was postponed on Monday after a juror and one of Trump's lawyers reported feeling ill. The U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan, who oversees the trial, announced in the courtroom that he would postpone the trial for at least one day. Okay, so he postponed it. It's not letting you come up here and see it, though, is it? While I move it, it won't let it move. Let me double check that you guys can see this on your side. Yeah, you got it. You got the whole thing, but you don't have the other piece. Okay, Kaplan said one of the jurors reported feeling ill on his way into court, and he was sent home and instructed to take a COVID-19 test. Alina Habba, one of Trump's attorneys, said that she was also feeling ill on Monday, who recently was exposed to COVID-19 at a dinner with her parents. Now, this particular case, are you guys familiar with this case at all? Okay, then here's what I'll do. If you're not, so many cases this cat is involved in, so many situations. Let me just briefly tell you. All right. Carroll is seeking more than $10 million in defamation damages over Trump's denying he sexually assaulted her in the longtime advice columnist. He sexually assaulted the longtime advice columnist back in the 1990s. Trump has already been found liable, and the jury will only decide the damages. Habba indicated that Trump was prepared to testify on Monday, but noted to the judge that if the trial does resume on Tuesday, Trump wants to be in New Hampshire for the state's primary. Habba suggested that Trump testify after the primary on Wednesday. Carroll's lawyer, Roberta Kaplan, who is not related to the judge, stressed the desire to move ahead. Quote, if juror number 3 is sick tomorrow, we should proceed, Kaplan said. Kaplan expressed confidence in the court's ability to handle the issue, noting that they had held trials during the pandemic lockdowns. Quote, we have gotten through all of that. We will get through all of this too, Kaplan said. Just after the trial adjourned, Trump took to Truth Social in a spree of posts disparaging Carroll, while also dismissing the trial as a witch hunt. That's that. I just can't. I'm done. These individuals. So, I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm just done. We're at an hour. That's what we were supposed to go today, for an hour. That's as much as I can do. I think everybody else knows a lot of public stuff about Trump. We've all heard and seen a lot of stuff that he's alleged to have done, and people who've alleged to have come out and said that he did this. He stole a bag of oranges from the man at the 110 freeway in Los Angeles. I mean, just a joke. That's a joke. It's allegedly. It's a joke. It's not even allegedly. It's a joke. There's a lot of stuff that they say he does and that he did, and I think that they've got him spread from New York all the way to Georgia in court cases. So pick one. You can just pick one. But to my point, will people still vote for him? Should he progress? Should he move on? It's a good question. They are all actors. But we got to talk about it. Because if we don't talk about it, then I get people sending me emails like, you don't talk about politics. Because honestly, a lot of times the stuff is creepy, scary. And then if you do come upon something that is definitely true and you start to report on it, then you got to worry about looking over your shoulder. So my mind is playing tricks on me. Okay, here we go. No, I can't. This year, Halloween fell on a weekend. And me and Ghetto Boys was trick-or-treating. No, just joking. You guys don't know that. None of you guys know that song. None of you know that song. So it looks like it's just a cuckoo bird. Okay, anyway, we're at 1 hour and 51 seconds. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today. Please remember that if you haven't already, hit that like button. Hit that like button, baby. Smash it, darling. Go ahead on, hit it, beat it up, caress it, touch it, do whatever it is that you got to do to get off on that button. Then I also want you to make sure that you subscribe to the channel and share it out if you can, because we'd love to have anybody that you would recommend to come over here and listen to my kooky tale. Also, I want you guys to make sure that you take care of yourselves first, because if you don't take care of you, as you always know, I say ain't nobody else going to take care of you. Watch, do it and see what happens. Then once you get yourself strong enough to take care of you, go ahead and take care of yourself. And by all means, make sure that you remember to take care of my friend, because my friend is you. We'll talk soon. Don't forget to check out the other programs that we have coming out today, and we'll talk soon. Peace. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.